Welcome back to How Teachers Are Transforming Education Across Africa, one classroom at a time. This is episode 3, and today we are welcoming Grace Annabelle. She is a special needs teacher from the Teshi region of Accra, and she comes to us with great experience in the field of special education in Ghana. She has a lot of great ideas and ways of building an inclusive classroom to talk about today. So I hope that you learn a lot and that you can just really tune in and find out ways to meet the needs of your special needs kids in your class. So without any further ado, let's welcome Grace Annabelle.
All right. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Darlene. I'm so excited to share my knowledge and experience with everyone. So my name is Grace Annabelle. I am from Ghana. I was born in Western region, that's Takwa, and I went to University of Education, Winneba, where I studied special needs. And right from university, I've been living in Accra, working as a special needs teacher, and it's getting close to a decade since I started my career.
Oh, wow. That's great. And so when you look back at your life and your education and stuff, what were some of the experiences that you had that led you to want to become a teacher, first of all? And then how did that transition to special education?
Right, so that one is a little bit confusing, and because I didn't want to be a teacher all my life, I never thought of becoming a teacher. After uni, I remember I didn't really know what I wanted to be, but I knew I didn't want to be a teacher. So after senior high school, when I was going into university, I applied to the university to pursue biology, and I couldn't get it, so I had to stay 1 year more. And then my sister's husband, who is a teacher, told me there is a course in uni which is like psychology. So if you go into it, it can lead you to become a psychologist. And I'm like, okay, psychology is a cool one. So I will do that course. And then he told me the course is called special education. I didn't really think deep into it because I was young. I was like 18. So I thought, okay, if it will lead me into psychology, why not? Then I went into it, and then first year I was like, what am I learning? And for our first year, we went into special schools. So we went to school for the blind, school for the deaf, and school for intellectual disability. And trust me, after that trip, I came back and I'm like, no, this is not what I want to do. No, I don't think I'll be able to teach children with special needs or these conditions. So I wanted to withdraw from school because I knew that was not what I wanted to do. But going forward, and I kept praying about it. I'm very religious, so I kept praying about it. And then somewhere in level 200, I was like, I've come to the middle of my university education. I can't go back because if I quit, then it means 2 years is gone. So I just have to press on and then complete, and then I will have to just do it. So I just decided to love what I'm doing and just do it. And that has been everything about it. I've just grown to have passion for whatever I'm doing in special needs. And I don't see myself doing any different thing aside being in special needs field. Yeah.
So the more I get to talking to different teachers, like I had, I think, 2 or 3 interviews this week, it seems kind of common that high school students, they don't really know where they want to go. Maybe they know science or they know
Yeah.
like maybe something to do with math or something like that. But it seems that it's very often that I talk that teachers sort of were going in a different direction,
And
and
this
whether
came in
it's
the way we
God
just
or the
jumped on.
economy that
Yeah.
brought you. But I really believe just from the conversation we had and the passion that I hear from you, that God really had a plan for your
Yeah.
life. And
Yeah.
even though you didn't, he really brought you through
Yeah.
to where you're supposed to be to help these amazing children, and
That,
now to help teachers understand what the needs are in the classroom.
yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
fantastic. Do you have any kind of specific story of like a relationship with a particular child or in a particular situation that really solidified that feeling that you said that you can't see yourself anywhere else? Do you have any particular story with the child or a classroom
Okay,
situation?
so I remember when I did my national service in Jolu Special School, one thing that almost always broke my heart is the fact that they are just secluded in this environment. They are in an environment where people only come in when they are about to donate and when they want to have an event or something they want to give or like that. But when it came to people really socializing or loving these kids or making them part of the society, I feel like it wasn't there. People just come and give, but they don't even want to associate so much with the kids. And for me, this is why I'm so passionate about inclusive education, because why should a group of children just be boxed in one place, no contact with the society or the community? Like they have every right to be in the community, to be part, to contribute and all of that. So just seeing that these kids are just at one place, that's where they live their life is that's the reason why I feel passionate. I really want to push for inclusive education because everyone has the right to belong wherever they are. And also I have an auntie who has a daughter with Down syndrome. And
Mm.
anytime I see her grow, I'm like, she deserves to know her environment. She deserves to understand her world because she would be independent one day. She will be on her own one day. She'll be an adolescent one day. So, as a society, what are we doing? Or as teachers, if this child is in your classroom, the fact that they are not able to learn the same pace as every child will be doesn't mean we need to leave them because as time goes by, we push them to different classes. But what actually are they learning? They are not learning socialization so much because a lot of students don't even want to play with them. So I just believe that as teachers, as individuals, no matter how the child is, at least even if they can't learn academic work, we should help them to be able to live independently in their society. And that's what drives me so much. And I feel like we have a long way to go and we have a lot to do. So my service is really needed in this space.
Yeah, definitely. So when you were talking about the one school that you went to, you were saying that you saw children separated from society. So where in terms of the landscape of Ghana, probably even further across Africa, where are these children now? Like where, if they're not in school, what are they doing? And if they are in school, what is happening right now? Like, let's sort of make a picture of what is happening so that when we start talking about the solutions, that we can really understand what the problem is so that we can move forward.
Okay, so where I did my national service, it's a boarding school for children with special needs. So when they are not in the classroom, they are either in the dormitory or they are just in the open space inside of the school. So it's a gated school. So it's either you are in the classroom, you are just at the compound, or you are in the dormitory. So that is exactly where they are. And when they are in the classroom, they are learning about self-help skills, toilet training, and all of those skills. And some arts and some students who are good are able to do academic work. But because their curriculum is special and designed in such a way, it makes transition hard for them. So you can have a student who has been in the school for maybe close to a decade, over 5 years, still in the same classroom. And even if they've moved to the next classroom, they can't move to the extent that they have to move and go to higher institutions. So no matter how far they are going or how much they are pushing, it is still in the same environment. That's where they will be because the kind of curriculum or what they are learning doesn't qualify or permit them to transition into higher space. So that's where they are all the time. And this applies to most of the special schools that are boarding. But this typically happens with the school for special needs like the intellectual disability. Because I know for the school for the blind and the deaf, for them they're able to transition. Some are able to go into the university, some are able to have careers, some are able to do other things. Because their impairments are with the sight and the ears, most of them have their academic work or their functioning brain really working. It's just the impairments
Right,
with the sight. Yeah,
right.
so they're able to have a progressive curriculum. But when it comes to our students who have neurodiversity, autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, and all of that, because there is an impairment with their cognitive work, it affects how far they can go when it comes to academics. So they are not able to rise as much as the other students are doing.
Right. So how many children are in these schools? Like, are these schools available for all children? Like, would you say children across Ghana are accepted into schools, or
Yeah,
are there a high percentage of kids still at home?
Okay, so in the special schools, the boarding facilities are few. So I know in Accra, for now, I know of only Jolu Special School. That's the public boarding special school I know. That's in Accra, and it can take students as much as, say, I'm not sure it can even take up to 300.
Because when I was in Ghana, I was talking with a mom who she had a Down syndrome boy, and she said it was really difficult to find a school that, first of all, would take their child, and then sometimes the school would, but then they didn't
The
provide for the
support.
child. They just put them in the classroom and then they do
Yeah.
whatever.
So
And that's Down syndrome, and Down syndrome is not even, they still are social and they can still learn and they,
exactly.
right. But like if you're talking about cerebral palsy or like even autism, sometimes
Yeah.
the behavior gets in the way.
Yeah.
So would you say that what is happening for those children that are not able to go to the boarding school and they're just at home?
Normally it's either if they don't get the opportunity to go into the boarding school, they go into private schools. Some private schools are willing to take them. So in Ghana, I know a lot of private schools are practicing inclusion and they're able to take them. However, as they are taking them, our issue now is the support they are giving them. Most of the schools are not giving them enough support to help them thrive. Right.
You would encourage anybody who has a special needs child to really look at across at all the schools because there are schools that
Yeah,
are
there are
available.
schools who take, yes. The only thing is, if you take your child in, make sure that they are giving your child the best support. Because if you are reluctant, your child will be overlooked.
Right.
Right. So,
So it's
yeah.
very
So,
important for the parents to really
exactly. And
push.
we also have therapy centers across. So we have therapy centers that take care of your child. In fact, if your child is on the spectrum or it has autism, the center can provide behavior therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, in addition to academics. So we have quite a number of centers who are willing to take the student in, but it is mainly in Accra. A lot of the regions do not have centers because I feel like the awareness in other regions is lower than it is in Accra.
So in Accra, the focus would be on just finding what is out there and
Yeah,
then pushing to make sure that you get it. Then the other issue with that is maybe financial, like
yeah.
if people don't have
Because
money,
it's
like
really,
all of
really
these
cost.
things
Yeah,
cost
it's
money too,
expensive.
right?
It's really expensive, especially the therapy centers. It's expensive. And even the
Right,
private schools is expensive because your child on the spectrum or your child with special needs has to pay maybe more than half of the regular fees in addition. So it's very expensive, because of the
right.
extra support they claim to give the student. So it's become a disadvantage to parents who don't have money to afford that. And you can take them to public schools. However, the public schools, the support there is even more limited. So if you take them to public schools, then you need to find a facilitator who is ready to support your child in the private and the public schools. Because I've visited quite a number of public schools and I haven't found a lot of children, especially with autism. I haven't found a lot. They are really, really few. I found Down syndrome, I found learning difficulty or learning disability, but with autism, I can just count just a few. And I haven't even seen, okay, and I've seen some cerebral palsy, but in their mild state. So students who
Right,
can walk, who can take care of themselves, but may have challenges with writing and all of that.
right.
So if your child can help themselves to some extent, the public schools will not be a bad idea. But if they have like very high sensory issues, they have very challenging behavior, then it will be hard to take them in because I don't even know how the student will be able to cope with that child. And I don't know how the child will also be able to cope because in a public school, we have about 50 students or 50 students in a class. And a child with autism will have high sensory issues, noise, sound, the noise, the lights, a lot of things will be going on and it will be very challenging for that child. And also, public schools do not have sensory rooms. There are no
Right,
sensory
right,
rooms, there are no supports rooms. It is just the classroom or outside. So, and sometimes it's just not the best for our student with special needs.
right. But so you brought up a point too about how they're treated by the other children.
Yeah.
So what can we what can we do to help normalize these different conditions and help the other students
Yeah.
understand that we're all different and that we need to treat each other with respect and help each other out and all of that.
Well, I just believe that all of these starts from awareness. So last year, I was doing awareness on neurodiversity in schools. I purposefully chose public schools and educating the student because I know clearly that the teachers know about these things, but getting students to understand it is even more better because the students have more impact on their peers even than the teacher. So I was able to reach about 5 schools where I was able to teach them about neurodiversity. I spoke to them about autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, and made them know that our brains are different. Even they that call themselves typical, we all have different brains.
Exactly. Different
So
ways of
I made
doing
them
things.
understand from that point that we all have the same brain, and what you can take, someone else cannot take. For me, I don't like it when I'm opening a door and there is sand under it and it makes that noise. It really freaks me out. I don't like it. So someone else who has something that at that point they don't like. And it's the
Exactly.
same with kids with neurodiversity. The only problem is probably for them sensory is high, so the little thing we can accommodate they cannot. So we need to like treat them the same way like everybody. We don't need to treat them differently, or oh, I don't want to play with you because you're being weird or something. So I think it's more about awareness for the children, and this year I'm just hoping to do more awareness to see how far we can go with this.
Yeah, and hopefully this video can go far, a wide reach. And also we need more people like you who are willing to open up and talk. Actually, I've had quite a bit of interest of special education teachers and teachers who
Okay.
want to talk about inclusiveness. So we can look forward to in the following episodes of more
Yeah.
teachers who are really interested in making sure that there's no child left behind,
Yeah.
as they say. So
Yeah.
we talked a little bit about how, of course, it's difficult for teachers when they have so many students, like you're saying, 35 to 70 students in a class, but
Yeah.
even in a class with 24 neurotypical with one autism, like what can a teacher do when they have to manage the whole class, but then they have this one extra, like what are some strategies that can happen like in the class for a teacher?
Okay, so for me, I just believe that as a teacher and in our dispensation, the first step is how you are planning your lesson. So if you are planning your lesson and you plan it rigidly, then automatically you are just taking some student out of your goals because not every child will be able to understand things the way you think they should understand it. And
And
that's
you're
when,
talking like not even with neurotypical, like
no, even
talking within a neurotypical environment, even
exact,
you have differences that the teacher
yes,
needs to consider. So you're just
yes.
widening with the neurodivergent, then you're just
Yeah,
widening the
yeah,
scope.
yeah. So I will even take myself for an example. I didn't really like math. I didn't really understand math. A lot of the concepts in math, I didn't understand it. It took me after senior high school to be able to do long division. And even as of now, I still don't understand long division. And I feel like it's not because I wasn't bright enough or I was dumb, but my teachers, like, they were just so scary. So you are scared to answer, like, ask questions. You're always quiet about it and you just don't know what to do. I really struggled with math until I grew up and I'm like, why didn't I understand this? Because this wasn't hard, So I just believe that as a teacher, having a neurotypical, like even in a class where you don't have any neurodivergent child,
Yeah.
you should like plan your lessons differently. That's where UDL is very, very important right now. It's so
So I
important.
want to get back to, I want to talk about UDL in a minute, but I just wanted to highlight as well, like what you said is exactly the thing that you did not feel safe in your
Yeah,
math class. And
yeah.
if a person is not feeling safe, then you
They
can't
cannot
learn. And so I
exactly.
think that that's like a really important point that we, as teachers, we need to be considering whether our students feel safe and not about whether or not we feel safe,
Yeah,
because it is a safe environment for the teacher,
yeah,
but children perceive and think in different ways. And like you said,
yeah,
your math teacher was scary. And so
yeah,
your teacher is probably there going like, me scary? Like what's scary about me? Do you know what I mean? But what scares kids is not
It's
necessarily you
different.
have to have the relationship with the kids. So I just think
Yeah,
that that was like a really important point. And then you
yeah,
were talking about UDL. Can you explain
yeah.
that a little bit more?
Okay. So before I go to UDL, I think one skill that I used to in my classroom that helped me so much is the fact that I put students in groups and I put them in charge. So I know every teacher knows the students who are good and those who are struggling. So you just put them maybe in groups of five, find the most brilliant student in that, put one brilliant student, put maybe one average in that group, and make maybe the one who is good or the one who is struggling the head of the group. Most of the times, make those who are struggling the head of the group, because if you are ahead of a group, you have a responsibility that you contribute. Because if you use the smart kid as the head of the group,
Yeah.
the ones who are struggling will feel like, because they are good, that's why they are ahead. And then it really increases disengagement. So use those who you think are struggling as heads of groups so that they feel confident that, oh, at least I'm ahead of a group. And it really
Yeah,
improves.
and I just wanted to add, like, it's not that, I mean, just because somebody may be lacking some academic skills, it doesn't mean they lack leadership skills. And
Exactly.
they can be put in charge, and
Yeah.
actually the group will turn out even better
Well, yeah,
because the one who's academic can sit down and do the work while the other one is doing the leading. Instead of
yeah,
the academic good one doing all the leading and doing everything,
yeah,
and then everybody else just sitting down and doing nothing. So yeah,
exactly.
that's a like really great point. I love that,
Yeah,
of like
yeah,
putting the weakest in the content area, really looking at what are all of the positive things of each child. Like
yeah,
what can each child give to a situation so that you can build their confidence and
yeah.
build up who they are as students. That's so
Exactly,
good. I love
exactly.
that.
And with doing that, we are looking so much also at engagement. Our goal is for every child to be engaged. So if you put somebody who is capable, they will, they are, some of the students are even willing to do it alone without collaborating. And if someone who is struggling feels, oh, this guy is in my group and he's a group leader and he's intelligent, let him do it while we play. So if you put students who are struggling as leaders, they make sure that everyone else is engaged because they are leaders. And then if they are leaders, then they have to engage. So this really, really improves engagement. And I know that sometimes it can be really challenging for teachers who have very large class, but until you have any person to help you out, you need to start something, or else you'll always teach the front row and leave the back row.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
also, you can also put the students who are weak or are struggling in front so that every time you are monitoring their work and all of that. Yeah. So back to UDL. I think right now it is our main framework as inclusive schools.
Can you explain what is UDL for our listeners?
Okay, so Universal Design for Learning, that's UDL. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it is an approach that tackles the strength and the weakness of every child. What UDL seeks to achieve is that every child is, the need of every child is met wherever they are, and to foster inclusion. I think UDL believes that there is no one way of teaching. Unlike before, when our teachers used to use only the board and a marker, those times are just past and gone. Right now, we are using different means of engagement, different means of representation, different means of expression. And these are the core principles of UDL. And as a teacher, if you utilize this in your classroom, trust me, you will see so much improvement. And there will be so many things your student will be doing that you don't even have to tell them, because you make them feel like they are in charge of their own learning. They are making differences in their learning. You are praising their good work and all of that. And I love the framework so, so much.
So
Right?
that's, you said that's universal design for learning. And so where, if somebody was interested in learning more about that, is there a website, or like you would just chat GPT, or how could you find out more information to understand the different, well, the framework, first of all, and then how to manage your learning environment to follow that framework?
Well, the framework, when you search online, you find a lot of materials on that framework. And after the materials, as a teacher, you will have to sit down and strategize, know your class, and know how best you can use this framework to support your students. So when it comes to the materials, you find them online. There are a lot of websites that really talks about the UDL frameworks and all of that. So it's not hard to find. It's just not hard to find. And I've also created a whole plan or a lesson on that. If you're interested, you can just let me know and I can just let you know how to use it. It's an amazing one, trust me.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
definitely. So when we put up the video on YouTube, then if you could just go in the comments and put links to some of this different material so that
sure.
it makes it really easy for people to find and really learn what they need to learn to really push this forward for our students.
Yeah.
So what are some like particular strategies, or like if somebody's listening to this video and they're going to class tomorrow, what is something that they could just put into practice right away tomorrow just to make the class more inclusive in terms of making sure that everybody has a voice, or anything that you can suggest?
Well, I think the first thing I'll say is that calm down as a teacher. Just calm down, like just
Take some
relax.
deep breaths.
Yes, like just relax because I know that our job is so overwhelming. Trust me, it can be so overwhelming, especially being in an inclusive school, having different abilities and different language. Some students even have language barrier. It can be really, really frustrating, but it's still doable. You can still do it. So as a teacher, you need to empower yourself first and just know that you are not the superhero. These little kids that you think you are going to teach them, they have so many things to teach you, right? So maybe if you're going to work tomorrow, I'll just say relax. And number two, make the students part of the learning. Don't be the teacher who is going to deliver instructions to your student. Make your lesson, it's like we are all doing this together, right? We are doing this together, and then take away the things that are in your brain. Oh, this guy is not good. Oh, this guy is good. No, every day these students evolve. Every day their behaviors change. Some days you are even shocked that the least performing child will perform in a day or two. So just relax, calm down as a teacher. They just love it. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things is to really look at particular things, like not just, it's not just the academics that should be praised. It's just like, oh wow, that was really nice how you really you shared your toy, or you,
Yeah.
oh, I'm so proud of you
Yeah.
for even
And
speaking up in
also
class, even
this
just saying something when they're not used to saying something, or
Exactly. So who had the best handwriting? And these challenges, you think, oh, they may not be interested. They will be. If you have stickers, you can use stickers. Just be consistent with the goals that you set for them. So who has cleaned the class enough? Who has done this enough? And then every morning, just put their names out there and make them feel confident. It also adds up so much to how much they're able to do when they are in the classroom.
yeah, and
Yeah.
making sure that all of those, there's categories where every child can be the
Yeah.
star as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's more about how we can make it inclusive. So I feel like our conversation, it's so good in the sense that we're not talking about children being different. We're talking
No,
about all children have
yeah,
these needs, and that
yes,
there's like sort of a spectrum. And so if you have a child that happens to have Down syndrome, it's just include them in your thinking, just the
ex-
way you include every other student. So it's not
yeah,
just
yeah.
about, inclusiveness is not just about having this sort of one personality of a student.
No,
It's about all of the different personalities working
yes,
together to
yeah,
build up a classroom. So what I love about our conversation is that I feel like it's just been so inclusive. Just in
yeah,
terms of the way we talk about the classroom, it's not even like
exactly.
we're just talking about special needs. We're talking about
No, we're
every
talking about
classroom,
everyone,
all the
everyone,
kids.
because I know students where sometimes you feel like, oh, this person is the one who needs like different way of learning or something. You bring in real materials to teach, and even the student who you think are neurotypical benefits so much that you are shocked. Because I feel like every child, we think, oh, because they can speak well, because they can do this, no. No, no, no. What you are what material you can sometimes target for child A will even benefit child B better. That's
Yeah.
why it is very important to use different means of representation, because maybe you are teaching a noun, you assume, oh, okay, they know animals already, they know this, they know that, so you just come in, oh, today we are learning now. Now is the name of a person, place, animal, or thing, right? That's nice, they can memorize it, but why don't you bring toy animals, bring toy persons, just mix it, toy
Use reality.
places,
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
And then in the first lesson, you just walk in, you just throw these items on the table and like, okay, sort them out into their best
Categories.
guess. Yeah, into their categories. And after that, what do we have? Oh, we have animals, we have this. When you are given the definition of nouns, these kids they've lived the lesson and it will stick in their memory throughout. They will never forget it. They will never ever forget it. But if you come and you give the definition, you assume they know, so they will have to memorize it. But if you give the experience in a way where they lead the learning or they already live the learning, then they don't even have to memorize or anything. It just sticks with them, you know.
Yeah. So the one thing that comes to mind is that you know how so many schools have they want to put Montessori on the
Exactly.
front of their school. And I don't know if you've heard of Waldorf, but both of those and many other systems of learning that they have found to be very effective are based on just those things that you said. So
Yeah.
basically there's a bunch of kids like neurodiverse in very difficult situations, having a difficult learning. And then Marie Montessori wanted to help those kids. And
Yeah.
so she came up with this strategy. And then everybody else said, hey, we want that for us too.
Yeah.
And then it became the people who have money get to have that style of learning when it wasn't originally intended. And that was the same thing for
Exactly.
Waldorf. He
Yeah.
also developed his program on helping kids with very, very difficult backgrounds and very difficult lives and not able to have education. And now we, the general population, are taking those things. And now I feel like autism, it's the same. People who study autism and what's the
Yeah.
best way, and ADHD, the best way to teach people who have ADHD, it's
Yeah.
actually the best for everybody.
Exactly, you
And
know.
so it's like these children are the ones that are helping us to
Yeah.
learn what we need to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, so all of those programs that were developed for special needs are
Yeah.
what people are where we're moving forward to in 21st century education, basically.
Yeah. 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 So yeah, I think so far special needs is no, inclusive education is really changing the way lessons are being delivered. It's just changing the way school systems are even designed. Now, schools are going for classrooms that are more versatile over just table and chairs. And you are doing this so that when a child who has ADHD or Down syndrome or autism has meltdown, they can chill out, but in the classrooms. But funnily enough, other students who are neurotypical find it even more fun and they find it more relaxing and more better than sitting on their actual chairs. And I just believe that I love the fact that it is bringing this kind of an environment where everyone's need is accepted in the classroom. And I also love the fact that it's starting from school because that is where a large population is.
Yeah.
School is where the large population is. So if schools are going inclusive, it's just a matter of time where the markets, the churches, and all of these places will have to adapt to the same system because that's where we are getting to. That's where we are
Anyway,
getting.
that's awesome. So when you look at education in Ghana, for example, or Accra, I feel like from our conversation, there is a lot happening already.
Yeah.
And we can see the progress from even 10 years ago. There's a
Yeah.
lot of progress in terms of the mindset, and people are really sharing their ideas and stuff. So, where do you see the future going?
Well, the future is bright for Ghana right now. I think, yes, I'm so optimistic that the education in Ghana is getting better. It's really getting better, especially for the primary. And somehow, too, I just believe that the way our Ghanaian system is developed, Ghanaian teachers are we persevere actually when we put it in our mind to support a child. We will support you. Oh. We will support you. We will be hard on you, but hard in a good way, right? So we are generally not those kind of teachers who will be like, oh, I don't want to learn. And we're like, oh, okay, then have your time. No, no, you will have to do it. And it's not about we are forcing you or we no, but we don't really give up. We are quite resilient. We don't give up on children like that. So sometimes I
Nice.
just feel like a lot of people from different countries are bringing their children to Ghana and even Africa because they feel like when they come here, they see the result. And I'm like, yes, we will have to make you see the result because our teachers were not hard on us. It wasn't the right way, but I feel like sometimes we need to stay our grounds for students because if we are always giving them what they want, giving them their time, giving them when they throw tantrum, we leave them. We don't really see anything. Sometimes we need to be firm on them to let them know that we are in control. And I love the fact that we are doing it in a good way. We are blending it, except when we feel like this space is so overwhelming for the child, and okay, like now you can cool off. But we don't really give children the chance to be able to do whatever thing they want. No, no. And with that, yeah, with that mindset and with that practice, it's really helping us as teachers. And I just believe it's just a matter of time. Ghana will be really part of the best countries who are implementing inclusive education, trust me.
So what I'm hearing is the traditional ways, the mindset of like that every child can learn, and you have that strict like
Yes,
thinking, but putting
yes,
into practice some of these new
yes,
strategies to really build up the child instead of
yeah,
break them down. So
no,
that's an incredible perspective to have, and I hope that more
yeah,
of the teachers in Ghana
yeah,
can really be encouraged, and just to know that you guys are seen and you're heard, and we know the struggles, like
yeah.
of every classroom.
Yes, it's not easy, even with the curriculum we use. I think I'm so passionate about that. I keep saying that because the curriculum we give to us with special needs is just not the best. And sometimes it can get frustrating because I think I got it a few days ago. I'm going to share with you as soon as possible. And this curriculum was built like years back and it hasn't been revised. And if you look into it, this is not a curriculum that can take your child anywhere. That's why nobody almost uses it because what can this do for my child? And I think so far we are learning to teach up instead of teaching down. And when I mean teach up, I mean we have the bigger concept before we can break it down using scaffolding for the child to understand. Instead of saying, okay, this is the topic, but my child is here, so let me just maintain your level here. And then if you're able to make some progress up here, then that's okay. No, we are really raising the standard and the bar higher, and we will try to break the lessons down for you to reach that higher bar. Because if parents are paying so much to get their children into good inclusive schools, then we also need to do so much to make sure that the children are reaching the goal we're expecting. They may not be getting the 90% or 100% or 80, but at least they are not getting 40, 30, or 20. You know,
Right,
we are
right,
trying so hard that no matter how low you are when it comes to academic work, at least you don't fail. At least you will pass. At least you can move to the next stage of your life. You can go into the uni, you can get a job and all of that. So we are practicing the process of teaching up and not teaching down.
right, right. And so you were talking about the curriculum. So what can teachers do in their classrooms if they're not given a proper curriculum? Like what would you suggest how they
Well,
go?
right now, what most schools are doing is just adapting the curriculum that the neurotypical students are doing. But the challenge is the fact that they are not adapting it properly. And if you are adapting it or you are modifying it in a way that is so lower than the expectations of that maybe year group, then fine, the child can move through up to a certain year group. But my question is, how long can we modify it for the child? And with the modified curriculum, which institution is going to take, or which higher institution is going to take a modified curriculum? So let's take Cambridge, for example. If a school does Cambridge and there is a child with special needs who cannot do anything about Cambridge or does not understand the curriculum, the best you can do is pick some of the things in the year group, like maybe if in math, if they are doing their counting numbers 1 to 100, maybe your child with special needs can count 1 so that is the modification you have made. But if they go to year 5 or 6 and they are counting up to 1,000 and your child with special needs is able to count up to 200, they have still not achieved the goal of the year group curriculum. So they can be moving up with their students and the kids can be making progress, but to what extent? Where is this modified curriculum going? So at schools, the best we can do is modifying the curriculum. That's the best we can do at the moment because we don't have an alternative curriculum. So I guess
Right.
we
Because
as
what the alternative curriculum that is there is just way too
it's too
low
way
and
low.
too
Exactly, way too low. So the
too
best
strict. Because there's others like, and especially kids with autism, they might be like very excellent at reading and
yeah,
then not able to do math, or they might be
yeah,
really excellent at math and then,
yeah.
not
Be
have the
able
social
to
skills,
read.
or there's
Yeah,
different areas. And so to even put one curriculum on the students just because they have a neurodivergent, it
yeah,
doesn't make sense, right? So
yeah.
it's just going back to the same thing we talked about, knowing each individual kid for what their strengths are
Exactly, exactly.
and what they can do. And just what you said, like really pushing towards what those kids can do and not
Yeah.
letting them just relax and say, oh, well, I can't do it.
Oh,
Oh, because of
no.
this and that, I can't do it.
No,
It's
no,
really
no,
pushing
no,
them
no, no.
forward.
The Ghanaian teacher that doesn't understand. Oh, I don't want to. No, 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 no. So
Thank you.
it's job you have to do.
Right, right.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Well, this conversation has been so great. I think that a lot of people are really going to benefit,
yeah,
and just so encouraging to see what is happening and what more and more can be happening throughout days and weeks and months and years ahead, to
yeah,
really prepare all of the kids, not just what people consider the normal kids, but all
yeah.
kids can be prepared for a successful life. And that's so exciting to
Exactly.
think about. It's so
Yes.
great that we have people like you that want to bring the awareness.
Yeah,
So just in terms of awareness, parental awareness, like parents need to understand who their kids are and what is available for their kids and what actual needs their kids have
yeah,
with regard to education and thing socialization and all that kind of thing. And then
yeah,
the kids, we talked about the kids knowing that everybody's different and we just need to treat everybody with respect, but giving
yeah,
them some understanding of maybe some of the kinds of differences, like you were talking about, in terms of sensitivities of noise and light and temperature and all the different
yeah.
sensitivities that we can have. And then also just society at large, learning to accept that things are changing, right?
Exactly. Things are changing. We don't
So
live in the past anymore. No, no, no,
yeah.
no.
So what I'm hoping for is that maybe Haruna Adrisu could listen to our podcast and he can hear
Uh,
directly from the teachers what their perspective is and really help with that campaign, because that's really an important part of what governments can do.
yeah,
That doesn't cost a lot of money. I mean, it costs some
yeah.
money or whatever, but just to spread awareness and to make sure that people are
Because
getting to know.
my frustration is students who have a visual impairment and hearing impairment can transition. They can go into the uni. So why is it that students with neurodiversity do not have transition? Why? Why don't
Yeah.
they have transition?
So we could take a real like closer look at how that happened. Like probably in the beginning when, the schools for the blind, they had to, it was a process to be able to learn what are the needs at university for a blind student, what are the needs for a deaf student at university. So now we
Yeah,
need to figure out what are the needs for these divergent students.
yeah,
But even taking a look at some schools abroad that have programs, that there's some things that you can imitate. I'm all for Africans building their own way, not just adopting, but adapting.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think that that's really important to get the ideas, but then really understanding the African context and what we're dealing with so that you can really adapt ideas instead of just plopping stuff down on top and saying, hey, yeah, this worked over here, so it's going to work over here. It's not
yeah,
necessarily that way. So
yeah.
anyway, this has been so exciting. I've been really appreciating this conversation.
Thank you
Is
so
there
much. I really appreciate this
anything
too.
else you just feel the need to get out into the world of education, or something you want to say to the teachers that are in the field?
Well, I'll just say if you're a teacher in the field of teachers in the field, we need to, we really need to do so much when it comes to our inclusion. I know that it can be very frustrating as teachers, but we have a bigger role like to include everybody in our classrooms. I know that inclusion is booming in Ghana, like a lot of schools are hopping onto it, but I just believe that still teachers can be abilities to do because it is not enough getting a child a chair and a table to sit at the corner of the classroom all the time. It's not enough. It's not enough for children to just go out and then play. We have a lot of responsibilities to do, especially if we can add it to our responsibility to make sure that our students understand the kids with special needs in our classroom because it's a
Yeah.
big challenge, a very big one. Who wants to play with a child with special needs? Nobody. Nobody. And for our students with autism, they already have challenges with socialization. So for them, they always want to play by themselves. But that's not why parents bring their children into inclusive school. They bring them to be able to learn with them, learn from them as well. So if
Yeah.
these kids are in the classroom and they are always at the corner with their shadow teachers, no form of engagement or no form of commitment with them, it can get really frustrating. So I'm pleading with our teachers who are in inclusive schools. If your school hasn't gone inclusive, as a teacher, you can start it in your classroom. So please try so hard and speak to your students to be able to socialize, to accept them, to love them, to support them, so that we can raise inclusive country. Because I know that Ghana is really, really going to get there. Yeah,
Awesome.
so
That's so
optimistic.
awesome. Thank you so much for your encouraging words and just for everything that you do for
Thank
the
you so much.
kids, for Ghana, for everyone.
Thank
So I look forward to talking more with you in the
you.
future. Maybe
Yes.
you'll come on again to give us
Yeah.
some more insight. And thank you so much.
Thank you
And
so much.
thank you to the audience for listening to this conversation. I hope that you've learned. I hope that you can take some things and put it into practice in your schools and really build your community and build students in your classroom to be inclusive and to let everybody's voice be heard. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Take
Bye.
care. Bye.